Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Titans transactions today. Signed to the active roster from the practice squad is linebacker Otis Reese. This after linebacker Monty Rice was waived on Tuesday. Also signed to the practice squad were linebacker JoJo Doman and punter Ty Zentner, a corresponding move to punter Ryan Stonehouse having to undergo season-ending surgery. College basketball tonight. Vanderbilt hosts San Francisco at Memorial Gym. It's a 7 p.m. tip-off, and it's the Battle of the Boulevard at the Curb Center. The Belmont Bruins host the Lipscomb Bisons for a 7 p.m. tip. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Woo, is right. Blaine and Mickey on a Wednesday. Happy hump day to you. Got Action Jackson in here punching the buttons today, Blaine. Look at him.
Who that be?
What's happening?
Man, bananas.
Nothing's working over out here, man. On my...
Nothing's working over there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can hear you.
I know.
Sort of.
Maybe I'll put in the other right hole that I'm supposed to put it in.
Okay. Oh, you
There
can't
I
hear
go.
me because your headphones.
Yeah,
there
I
we
can
go.
hear you.
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. We got you now.
Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. Yeah. I'm thinking about bringing a treadmill on here so I can walk while I'm on air. It's a treadmill you can work, you put at your desk and you can just walk. Because I get tired of my watch telling me I need to get up and move.
Okay.
Yeah, you have that watch too?
I do not.
Oh, Jackson, you have that watch?
We probably
do
need
not.
we probably need to get you closer to your microphone though, or nobody's going to be able to hear the wonderful things that you
because
say.
I was still walking.
Yeah.
I was still walking. I was trying to move because it'll keep buzzing until you start moving.
I move around a lot. I even eat standing up at home.
Whoa. Why do you eat standing up? Now, I get if it's at the beginning, you can't wait and you're just getting it in. Because my wife does that and I say, well, sit down, honey. No. She's, I don't know. I got it. So she's eating it while she's walking to the plate.
If I eat
to
by
sit down.
myself, so like breakfast, once I get all the kids squared away and everything, and my son will go upstairs and like finish his odyssey of getting himself ready, and then my daughter goes to school super early, so she goes. I stand and eat my breakfast.
The entire time.
Yep. So then I go and do all the other stuff I got to do and finish all my work, and then I walk a couple miles or so every day, and then eventually I'll eat my lunch, and I get it maked. And then I just stand at the counter in the same exact spot.
So you just stand there, though.
And eat my lunch.
Dang.
Now, when I'm eating with my family dinner, I do sit down. The other 2 meals I eat standing up.
I don't think I ever eat standing up.
Now that I say
Like
that
I
out
may
loud,
taste something, like, oh, okay, and then get, let me put it in the microwave, warm it up, and then I'm gonna bring it
30
back.
more seconds.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
okay.
but I'm just generally that's about it is the max. I gotta sit down and eat because I want to enjoy it. Now, some people enjoy it, the way you're doing it. I'm sure you enjoy your food too, but I don't know, Jackson. Do you ever stand up while you're eating?
Rarely. It's definitely a lunch thing. I'm never eating dinner standing up.
Dinner, no. Breakfast too, though. Breakfast is almost my favorite. I think it is my favorite meal. I think that's the question. What is your favorite meal, and do you stand up eating it? I love breakfast. Sometimes I may not even eat breakfast, but
do you love
I
it
do
just
love
because like it gives you your fuel for the day, or because you just love oatmeal or sausage, or like what is it that formulated that?
I don't know. It gets my day started off right.
So you love what it does as much as like what you're eating.
Exactly. It's probably more that.
Okay.
Just get my day started off right. Some people, I love having my coffee blend.
What's your go-to breakfast?
Oh, egg whites, turkey bacon, and a bagel with raisins.
You make any of it the night before or anything? You get up
No.
the next morning.
I'll get up and make it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And I also love it? I can make it real fast.
Okay.
5 minutes. It don't take long to cook the turkey bacon. There's egg whites, by the way. I'm sorry. Most of the time. Sometimes just regular egg
Kind of in a
whites.
carton, or
Yep.
you pull the yellow out?
No, I used to. But I don't do that. No, I just get the egg whites. But it doesn't matter, whatever the eggs are. But, yeah, it's quick, fast and I can have my glass of coffee. It's kind of like peacetime. Like, I can sit down and just relax and get my day started and get my mind organized and how I'm going to go about this day. Yeah.
I'm terrible at relaxing. Somebody asked me once, like, what thing are you worst at?
So you take anxiety medicine or something?
No, I probably need to be.
Oh, okay.
Somebody asked me once, like, what do you think is like the thing you're worst at? I said, I know 100% it's relaxing. I'm a terrible relaxer.
Oh, that is hitman and relax go hand in hand. See, that you would never have thought that.
But you've always been pretty adamant that I could turn the switch on and off.
Uh-huh.
And if I could get away, like if it's the bye week or whatever, I would give myself a certain amount of time. Now, I might get up in the morning and run on the treadmill.
Yeah.
But when it's time to relax, I relax. Then I have to go back into play or go back to the,
because it recharges me.
Yes.
Yeah, even like if I'm off for, a couple days or so, I'll pay attention to it, but I'm not on that thing scrolling like I do when I'm all engaged throughout the week when we're working. I got to take a break. And it only refreshes me and gives me more energy to come back even better and let me go even to more detail. That's not to say that I'm not thinking about the job, but I'm more engaged I try to be where my feet are most of the time. So if I go somewhere, I want to enjoy the moment. Just like if your wife or somebody else is telling you something about, their day at work, I'm really engaged. I really do. Here's what the issue is. I say this to my son all the time. You need to practice on listening. Because they go, I was like, hey, man, I don't think you heard anything I said. What did I just say? Just give me in a nutshell. What did I just say?
Yeah.
Well, you said, no, I meant the crux of what I just told you. See, and then listening is a trait that a lot of people take for granted. Listening. It's listening.
The last time I truly felt relaxed was probably, I even have it pinpointed. It was probably the second week of October 1981. I remember what it felt like. I remember what it felt like.
We were going down this way. That's why I love.
I remember feeling like that. I remember feeling. I was over at my friend's house, and he and his sister, we were jumping on a trampoline, and like it was beautiful. It was fall day. The leaves were falling. And I remember laying on that trampoline, and the leaves were falling around me, and I felt so relaxed. I never felt like that since.
Is that how Mike Vrabel felt when they were asking him questions there at the presser? Relax, and the leaves were falling?
I think he...
Or did he have his rake and was raking the leaves?
No, well, then he took his rack and he left. He left a pile of leaves.
That's what I'm getting at.
He got asked by, he was getting asked questions about, we'll shift on into, we'll Titanize this conversation.
Yeah, I'm learning from you, Mickey. See, I listen.
You transition.
See, I did that.
That was really nice.
But then you picked it up and said, no, he left the pile of leaves.
He took his rake and he walked away from the leaves. But he was getting asked, so you can tweet us at Blaine and Mickey. You can let us know if you can't relax like me or if you can relax like the
too
Hitman.
much like the Hitman.
Austin Stanley texted me, said, I actually eat standing up too. There's two of us.
No, my wife does.
Okay, there's
I was
three
saying,
of
honey,
us.
sit down. Relax. I think, and she has this, she won't relax.
I can't relax.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Never. It's hard for me to go to sleep. As soon as my eyes open and I wake up,
I got something for you for that sleeping. It has 3 letters. CBD.
Simple as ABC.
They have stuff out there for that. Other stuff too, I'm sure.
My wife bought me and they came from Walgreens or somewhere. I guess something with something like that in it.
Yeah. Oh,
and they tasted so bad.
Oh, you got like gummies or something?
Yeah, like a gummy. You chew it up. Okay. And so I cut it in half and ate half of it. And I think I slept about 11 hours. And so the next time I said...
It scared you, didn't it?
Yes. I took a fourth of it. Oh. And I then slept probably like...
9 hours?
9 hours.
Oh.
So the last time I took one, I took a knife and
maybe
basically...
it was too potent. Maybe you just took a little piece.
It looked like
your nail,
like the size of my pinky nail. I took a knife and I sliced off the edge of it, and it almost melted in my mouth, and I almost fell asleep before I got up the stairs. It still got me. I slept like solid 8 hours almost with that.
Yeah. Well, my goal is always to try to get 7.
Okay. Yeah, I don't often do that.
Yeah, but I know Vrabel's not getting any sleep right now. None. Nobody over there is, as far as the coaches. I mean, it's a nightmare right now as far as how much they're going all in on this right now, man. Because you always feel like you got to do more when you're losing. There is no way around it.
They cut Monty Rice. That was more. Brought back Otis Reese. He's there. They brought him back today.
That's who they brought back?
Yes. Yes. They brought back Otis Reese.
I'm about to inform all the listeners.
Okay.
Otis Reese is the guy who gave up the block punt against the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
Number 41. Great guy, undrafted, did a great job in camp, and deservedly should have made the team. He made a snafu, his first go-round in an NFL game, live bullets, and it's a little different, as I've always said, than practice, and they immediately cut him. Now, he wasn't a draft pick. Josh Wiley does the same thing 2 times. Somewhat similar, but the same result in the same position. They fired the coach of the special teams. So, good for him. When I see that, I feel like Vrabel's going through this maturation process of how to deal as a head coach with your emotions when things don't go the way that you think they should go. Yeah, that's where I see Vrabel. I mean, because some of this stuff doesn't make sense. Monty Rice, you could talk about he's a good player, not a good player, 3rd-round pick. I'm going to go back through history. He had an ankle injury, as we were told, I think, a couple years ago. And then all of a sudden it became that he had surgery all off season for something similar to that. I don't know if it was his Achilles or whatever it was. His ankle, I don't know. And then he comes back. And he was competing for the job with Gibby. And then the last preseason game, I think this is what me and you kind of pulled out. He only played 6 snaps, and then they didn't play him anymore. And so I thought he was injured. Mm-hmm. Well, go back, look at the injury report. He was not injured. So I'm trying to figure out why he didn't play the last preseason game on defense when everybody else was rotating in there, but he wasn't. So I think if I was making a guess, I would say there's a personal conflict. I would say that. Because he didn't even play on defense, and he was part of their rotation with Gibby and Aziz the last 2 or 3 games.
He did.
And they were playing even amount, everybody. I think something like that, right?
To the point Mike Vrabel even got asked about it. He said it's by design.
It's by design. And I kind of like that.
Because he played, at one point he had played, I think.
Because everybody thought it was his fault on the screen in Tampa Bay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that was the first game
and
he really
kinda
played in.
Him.
Yeah.
Said, no, well, I mean, somebody, was supposed to be out there. I wish he would have took a better angle, but it really was supposed to come right back to him.
Right.
Or however
it's basically the best offensive call against the defense they had called. They called the perfect play against what they were running. Mm-hmm. And he essentially said, yeah, maybe guys could have done different, pursued harder, but it was a great call against a call. But he didn't do anything. He played like 6 or 8 plays of defense, period. And then he played.
In the preseason or that game?
No, the whole season leading up to about a month ago.
Oh.
Then he played in that game, and then the next game, and then the next game.
3 games.
Like in the teams.
But this last game, he didn't play at all, did he?
Just a few plays on defense.
Okay, because I went and looked.
Maybe
I was
8.
I was even looking at special team plays. I was like, man, maybe he did something horrible on special team. Nope, didn't find it.
He's been playing all the special teams.
I didn't see anything that was egregious. Nothing. So that's what made me lead to personal conflict. Maybe he's just unhappy that he is not playing or he hasn't lived up to the billing of, being a 3rd-round pick, and he should be playing in front of whoever is out there. And to me, that's the only thing that could lead to an abrupt cut. And, Vrabel just said, all right, well, we'll let you go. And maybe he wanted that. He got to be careful. And then I saw he put out there, thank God, on his Twitter and then or X, and then all of a sudden it disappeared.
I took screenshots of it.
Oh, he didn't realize all that. I would not be tweeting about anything during this season if I was a player. outside of some, personal stuff I'm doing with
Come
let's
to
say,
my charity
foundation.
event.
Yeah. Whatever it is. Yeah. Now, because I want to be aware of what's being said, but I'm not tweeting because to play football in the NFL, you have to be to a level, your emotions get out of whack when you're playing in this game at the highest level. And some people, especially younger players, probably don't know how to manage that as well. And, just it's a different generation of players. I think when I say Vrabel is coming through this maturation process, I would say he's old school. You're coaching new school. New school don't understand old school. And new school always wins if you're the coach and you want them to produce for you. So you need to adjust your tactics with the new generation of players. It's me. I'd be patting Monty Rice on the back because guess what? I want to win more than I want to be right on a player. So I'm going to do everything I can because you're not going to put me in a bind and a coach and then all of a sudden one of our starters get hurt. Now I'm screwed. Oh, no, that is not going to happen. So you need to sit your ego to the side and say, if I want to get the most out of these individual players in this new generation, then I need to kind of change some of my philosophies on how to get the most out of them. And I think that's where we're at now. That is where we're at.
Well, let's pick this up on the other side.
Instead of using fear tactics, which is one way the old school uses to get players to play at a certain way. Well, you don't get it done, you gonna got to go.
You just raised a really interesting point, though, as part of those points. I want to get into that coming up. We got Jordan Dajani in hour number 2, but we can take your phone calls. I know Middle has hired Derek Mason as a football coach. You're a Middle fan, you want to call. We're going to get into that and more. But a point you made about cutting a guy at a specific position, I want to get deeper into that on the other side because we've seen something like this before, and it came back to bite him in the fanny.
Yeah.
Let's get into that on the other side. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone.
There are a lot of diagnoses out there, and there's a pill for everything, but not all diagnoses are accurate, and not all pills are good for you. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop, and when you get a diagnosis of your European auto repair, get a second opinion before you make a major decision. And Eurofix is the home for second opinions. And before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle repair from a diagnosis, go to Eurofix. It could not only save your vehicle's life, but could actually save you from a lot of stress that ruins your weekend. And life's too short to get stressed out and angry. So be happy and go to Eurofix. And at Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit and not high-pressure sales tactics. And at Eurofix, you also get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And at Eurofix, you never pay dealer pricing. And they're located all over the place in Tennessee, starting with Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just check them out online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said you.
Blaine and Mickey 1045, the zone 615-737-1045. That'll get you on the program. Appreciate everybody watching on Zone TV. You can hit us up there in the F&M Bank Chat. Remember, you can watch us every day and hang out with us if you want to do like that. You can listen on the Zone app everywhere you go. You don't even have to be sitting in your car. Love it when people tell me, though, like, man, you guys were telling some story the other day, and I pulled into my driveway.
No, you were telling that story about that sheep, the hat.
Well, you're the guy who got a massage and didn't get touched by a guy who gave you a chiropractic adjustment.
Oh, yeah, that was, yeah. But Sammy did a great job on that video. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Oh, I found out. I remember D.O. It was D.O. D.O. behind the doctor's name.
Doctor of osteopathic medicine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I don't know. They didn't touch anybody. My friend's the spokesman for a DO school. I got to talk to him about that.
Yeah,
see if they're teaching that technique.
Yeah. Hey, man, people have no idea to the extreme a player to go to be able to play his best. It all goes all the way to tortoise shots. I said I'd never do that, and I did it 3 times.
Only 3 times ever.
Oh yeah. That's when my last year. They said, your foot is no. I'm gonna take this shot in my butt, and then I'm going to run fast as heck. And then when I finish, I hope my foot is still on my ankle.
I asked you once about Toradol. You don't even remember this years ago. You brought it up on the show back when we were in a whole nother time slot. And you brought up Toradol, and I said, everybody talks about Toradol. And you said, yep. And
I had no idea what was in it.
I said, everybody talks about, like, whatever it is, it just fixes, like, my shoulder's not feeling good. Just take the Toradol.
Yep.
You'll get through the game. You'll feel great. Now, later on, it's going to feel like, an elephant fell on top of you. But during the game, you'll feel great. You can go play.
Yeah.
That's what
I
guys say.
I felt like I was 21 out of college again.
Guys say, like, I got shot up. That's what that means.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so I said, so when you take Toradol, let's say it's your ankle. Do they give you the shot in your ankle? And you were like, no. I said, so like if it's your shoulder, they give you a shot? No. Always in the butt.
Always in the butt.
Toradol then just goes and finds the problem. It's a problem solver.
I'm so silly. Like when I'm in the game, you can see right through, especially when we had white pants.
Your Band-Aid.
Yeah, the Band-Aid that they put on there that everybody's wearing, and you know if you got that Toradol shot. I'm like, dang, he got a Toradol shot too. Oh, dang, he did too. In the game.
You got the mark on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Band-Aid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was telling you. I used to stand people were standing in line, and I used to say, what are you in line for? I said, I'm getting that Toradol shot.
Were there some people who just took it every week?
I don't know. I would assume.
That'd be a lot of medicine.
Yeah, I think there were individuals who may have done it if they just were, not feeling good. Their body just couldn't recover quick enough based off an injury. There's always probably a handful of guys that are doing that, I thought, at the time. Because once it gets word out, the player's like, hey, man, if somebody would ask me, I'd say, hey, man, I felt like I was 21. I felt like I could jump out the stadium. Yeah, that thing was, and you know what's so bad? I never even asked what was in it. I was like, I don't. And then I got scared. I said, when I got up the next day and I walked, I'm sorry, I didn't walk. I stepped, and then I fell. Mm. And my foot said, it cannot work. It scared me. I said, how can I play in a game and then I can't walk? Yeah, it scared me. Then I said, I don't know what's in that. I ain't doing that shot again. Unless I just have no other choice.
Last resort.
Mm-hmm.
You think cutting Monty Rice was the last resort? Here's why I ask you that.
I don't know, man. This is a tricky. I have no idea. I would not be cutting somebody when I'm up here rotating him, and one of the dudes get hurt. I guess he got Jones. He signed who, he looked, man, he's big, strong, fat boy. I don't know how good he's at linebacker on special team. He looks fantabulous.
Here's who's left I'm looking at the roster. Here's who's left. It's Azeez Al-Shire and Jack Gibbons, who've typically been the starters, although they were rotating with Monty Rice. Monty Rice only played 9 plays in the last game. He'd been up higher in the numbers. He was getting about a third. He got 9.
Yeah.
Then it's Luke Gifford, who's been hurt, special teams linebacker, smaller-ish guy. Joe Jones, great special teams player, awesome dude to talk to. And Otis Reese, who they called up today. That's the 3 depth guys at linebacker. Now, we can look at whoever else is, because Otis came off the practice squad. We can look.
He's really athletic. I think, didn't he play like safety?
Yes. He was he was one of those dudes.
Is he from here?
I don't know. He played at Ole Miss. But I don't know if he's from here or not.
No, I think I got that confused, yeah.
So all I could think of when this happened was this. Whatever's going on between you two. Do you remember 2021 when they brought Josh Reynolds here, gave him $1 million and change, and he
Wide receiver.
wasn't really fitting in with.
He wasn't driving. Then he got hurt kind of at the end. He got nicked up like ankle or
So
something.
they just there's a report he wanted to leave.
He wanted to leave.
Yeah, so they're just like, okay, bye.
Because they were playing an undrafted NWI when he was young in his career in front of him. And so he was like, oh, I'm out. It's time to go. This is exactly the same situation. Great job, Mick. This is exactly the same.
But
now
it's
Reynolds
not like they didn't need him.
But Reynolds had a resume that he had started in this league.
For the Rams, yes.
That was the only difference. Monty Rice had no starting on his resume.
But they just didn't have much depth. He was a good player.
Yeah,
like
and they
still
axed him.
He's doing great in Detroit. The year before.
What's David Long doing? They did not cut him. They just signed with another team.
But this is a midseason deal at a position where you don't have depth.
Exactly the same. That was a great example.
In 2020, remember they had signed Vic Beasley. Wasn't going very well. Same deal. Bye. And now, remember Kamale Correa. Remember then things.
Oh, no, the Vic Beasley, I was up to no way just because of the amount of money he was paying him, right? What did
it was like 1 year, $8 million.
He is not on the streets. I would have been running him at practice. He was going to play in them games. I don't care.
They cut him and Kamale Correa
at the same time. Yeah, I think he requested a
It was
a
the
release.
same thing again. Things got sideways, so they were like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then they ran. Then they didn't have enough bodies, enough depth at that position.
Yeah. But
You got no depth at linebacker. I would have been like, hey, man, the end of the year.
we go our separate ways.
We
but
go
right
our
now,
separate ways.
We got to keep rolling.
Yes.
Maybe Ray just felt like it couldn't make it any further. I mean, him not getting only 9 reps after 3 games of rotating with a third, which was kind of, it was all fair to me. I didn't have any issue with the way that was going. Yeah. I told you, Vrabel's going through this maturation process of if he doesn't like you for whatever reason, whether it's justified or not. See, me, if I'm coaching, I could care less if I like you. You know what I just went through? If you can listen and you do your job and you play hard, I could like you, I could love you, I could hate you, I could not like your personality, but guess what? When you get on that field, you better ball. Guess what? I may not give you as much slack if I don't, but I'm not going to let it become personal. You just can't do that. And because you have a limited roster. That's the same thing to me he did do with Fulton. That's the same thing. We could talk about his injury history or not. It became personal. You could tell because Bunting was getting toasted. He never benched him. Guess what? The other players see it. So to me, Vrabel's losing the locker room because they see what he's doing to other players, and they say, you are making it personal. You are actually dividing the locker room. Vrabel. And then these people come out with their little tweets, and then they dismiss it. And everybody wants to dismiss, and it's always about the player, and, oh, he was troubled, or, oh, that guy didn't hardly play. But guess what? They have nothing to lose in their minds. They're telling what it is. Now, a real good player is not going to do that, just like I just said I wouldn't even be tweeting.
Right.
Because they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're going to keep it moving because they understand how that can damage them down the road. The younger player don't. So they keeping it real. So you better take heed to those tweets. I would definitely do. So just like when you're at a company and you interview your employees at the end of the season, and I'm not talking about the head coach, someone needs to be interviewing the players, whether they're coming or going, about their situation. Because it seems very personal. And with these guys tweeting that stuff out, that shouldn't happen. I don't care where it came from and whose background and who's troubled and he didn't play very much or what have you. I think you need to take heed to it. Because I don't think Vrabel is helping the cause. I think he's having trouble just living with we are losing. And then now everything is off the table and he's just knee-jerk reaction because now he's got all the clout. Like that's the most dangerous dude alive. And eventually, as one of the callers called in yesterday, it keeps going down this road and you have lost 20 of the last 23. You clip your own legs. Yep, you swipe yourself. Your leg swipe. Wow. Better adapt. Better adapt. Same thing's going on with Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
The GOAT. I would never be clipping players and cutting them when I'm saying clip. And then now it puts me in a bind. No way, no how. That's ego. I want to win more than I want to be right.
Let me ask you this. What position down there, any of them, has enough depth to cut a competent player? Which position on that team has enough depth that you'd be like, yeah, if you need to get rid of somebody, you get rid of that?
Off the cuff, I would say none.
None.
Because most of these guys probably are backups anyway. So if you cut this guy that's rotating a backup, yeah.
And that's the point I was getting at.
Dang.
We've talked a lot about this roster. And you have said, as I look at it, there's a bunch of those guys who are maybe a solid journeyman level NFL player who's a part-time starter, but a good backup, a swing guy.
Uh-huh.
But that's a lot of dudes who are starting.
Right.
And they're having to punch above their weight every week. And maybe they can for a week or two, but eventually all their weaknesses get scouted. It's like the cornerback we were talking about a couple of years ago, and you're like, hey, man, I really like the way he played, but he's got some flaws and everybody's going to see him. And then he started getting toasted. But then the next week, literally, they just attacked him. They've got a whole bunch of guys like that who are journeymen, special teams guys, solid backup.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the level. And then when you start cutting Monty Rice, he's a core special teamer. It's not like they're just overrun. They got 2 punts blocked last week.
Well, this lets me know this Vrabel has all the power. Because somebody in there, whether it's Rand or anybody, hey, man, let's think about this. Who do we have at depth? And they may be like, oh, well, he's just a depth piece. He's not there. Wait a minute now. This guy is a decent player. Even if he's a role player, he's a decent player. I don't know. Let's think about this. If they feel like they got somebody better than him, they just tired of his mouth or whatever it is. Whack. Not me. I guess maybe he said we can't get any worse where we're at. Oh, wait, it can always get worse, right?
Yeah.
It can always get worse. Better be careful.
Let's check in with our man Jason from Hendersonville. He wants to join the discussion. You can too. 615-737-1045. Hey, Jason.
Hey, guys. With the way that he's acting, these knee-jerk reactions, doesn't it reinforce the rumors, quote-unquote, and I'm doing my fingers, of the New England where he
the
really
article?
wants to be coach. Yeah, I mean, because it just acts. We're on the outside looking in, but it reinforces some of the thoughts of everybody with the way that he's acting. Because I don't think he could care less whether he gets fired or not. Because he feels like he's about to walk right into a job that he really wants. So he doesn't care.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with you, Jason. Great observation. Yes, completely agree with you. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if, as we discussed yesterday, and I know we got to take a break here in a second, Scott Corley from Belmont is going to join us. There's a lot going on in college sports world. We'll get to that with him.
Ooh, in the Battle of the
Boulevard. Number 150. If you've never fired a coach in season before, we got into this yesterday at when we were doing the toy field, and it's something we could elaborate on later. You never fired a coach in the season. It's never been anything you did. We discussed, maybe Amy came down the hallway and said, hey, man, somebody's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
You never done it. This time you did it. Was the influence from her? If that's the case, and your boss has never meddled in how you did your business before, but suddenly your boss comes down the hall and goes, hey, you never done this before, but you about to go do it. You about to fire somebody because I said so. At that point, maybe you do start reading those texts from Kraft. I mean, at that point, if I can't do the job the way I want to do it, the way I came to do it, now suddenly I got to start firing coaches when I don't want to during the season, maybe I do need to pick up the phone. Maybe I do need to read some of those tweets, some of those Text, rather.
Oh, he pays attention to everything. You know,
Yeah.
he knows those tweets. out
Maybe
there.
I need to read these messages.
Just like they asking questions about Ackerman, and then he just walks off the stage. Huh? What can you just say? That's discussions me and Amy had. That's about as far as we're gonna go. No, he just dropped the mic and left.
They dropped the mic. All right, we do have to drop the mic. Scott Corley's going to. We can pick this up in hour 2. We got Jordan Dajani. We got time to talk to you as well. Big changes could be coming in college athletics for the money and how it's distributed, and power and how it's distributed, and it's also the Battle of Boulevard. Lots to get to next with Scott Corley, athletic director at Belmont.
While you've been patiently preparing for the cooler overnight temps, your home's heating system may need some prep of its own. That's where my friends at Cool Ray can come in. They're hard at work preparing thousands of Tennessee residents for the cool down with a $49 furnace tune-ups. So think of your furnace tune-up like maintenance on your car. We all know what can go wrong if you neglect that, right? And as if this is the year you finally need to fully replace your home's heating and cooling system, well, Cool Ray is armed and ready for same-day or next-day installations available on brand-new Tempstar home comfort systems. Plus, they boost the 10-year parts and labor warranty on that new unit. And with the holidays just around the corner, remember some important holiday tips from your friends at Cool Ray. And that is, first, don't put a live or artificial tree near a heating vent or keep your family and home safe during the holidays. So schedule your furnace $49 tune-up or any heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical related by visiting coolray.com. No phone call, no wait, no worries. You pick the date and time that works for you. That's coolray.com.
Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. What's up, everybody? At this point, we got to talk a little college athletics. Scott Corley, who's the AD for Belmont, joins us now. Are you the athletic director, or are you like the associate vice chancellor for athletics at Belmont University? What's your proper title, man?
I don't even know anymore, Mickey. I guess I'm vice president and director of athletics.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to get a new business card, so I'm saying the right stuff, man. I don't want to shortchange you on your title.
Yeah, I expect you to address me as Mr. Vice President now.
Mr. Vice President, at ST Corley, if you want to follow Mr. Vice President on Twitter. I know it's the 150th edition of the Battle of the Boulevard. We got to get to that. But I want to start with this because it's on a lot of people's mind. Proposed legislation from NCAA President Charlie Baker. And it's kind of, Scott, again, pushing towards that big super conference of the top 5 conferences, and they can pay players and play by different rules financially. I mean, in a lot of ways, because of their budgets, they do already, but it'll give them a lot more autonomy. Where are we headed with all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's all fair observations. I mean, obviously, Charlie Baker, our new president, has certainly been spending, his first few months kind of listening, getting a sense of the landscape. And I mean, it is, in a way, it's codifying the obvious, right? I mean, there are 50 or 60 schools that have a different revenue profile than the remaining, whatever it is, 300 of us. And so I think he's trying to navigate, how do we, keep the good things about what the NCAA can do. And the what I liked is access to tournaments didn't change. And so in a lot of ways, it's hard to tell. I mean, obviously, the devil's in the details, guys, and it's going to take a lot of time to get this thing to a membership vote where all parties can agree to what's best. But it certainly, at least it puts it out there. It allows the conversation to happen. But in my opinion, I'm not sure how much it really changes. I mean, is Belmont recruiting a kid that Kentucky's recruiting? No. And are there still opportunities for St. Peter's to beat Kentucky in the tournament? Yes. And when you look at St. Peter's and Kentucky 2-3 years ago, whenever it was, I mean, look at the difference in their budgets. And so, but it certainly puts some numbers around it. It certainly formalizes it in a lot of ways. And so I think it definitely is going to be moving a different direction. And I think, Charlie understood that he needed to do something and put something out there.
It's interesting, though, because when it comes to NIL, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, for years it was like, we're not going to do anything, we're not going to change anything, it's never going to happen. And then you went from 0 to, I don't even want to say 100, you went from 0 to light speed with all of this stuff with no guardrails for anybody. I can't imagine being in your office and sitting at your desk every day and trying to navigate a landscape that changes every 5 minutes.
It is challenging, and in some cases we've tried to slow walk certain things because of all the different changes, because it is hard to look out, 3 to 5 years and say, what decisions do I need to make today to help position us for that? And you hit it on the head. I mean, the NCAA under previous leadership, when the NIL got rolled out, there was a committee that spent a number of years trying to figure out what the guardrails needed to be. But then I guess out of fear of lawyer, advice and other things, they basically rolled NIL without any guardrails. And that's where we are today. These collectives, I don't think anyone saw the collectives getting to this level where you're hearing some of the numbers you're hearing for a starting quarterback in football. And so, some of it is you're not going to be able to turn that back. And so how do you navigate that going forward, and what are the right things to really help the student athlete, protect the student athlete, but at the same time, give schools like us, an opportunity to participate in the largest, championships that the NCAA provides.
Scott Corley joining us. He is the Vice President of Athletics for Belmont University, or AD, if you want to call him that.
Ooh, he's high up. That's what that means.
That's
but
right.
We'll talk about the high ups and the low people down at the stadium, and I'm talking about the student section. What are some of the craziest things that have happened with the student section? I mean, whether it's their chants or just getting, stomping on the ground. I mean, let's have some fun with this, Scott.
Well, I think our student section, we've got a group called the Mob, Motivational Organization of Belmont, and they have been really fantastic the last year and a half about getting the student participation in our games at a higher level. I'm expecting 1,200 to 1,500 students tonight. They will be active. They will be engaged. They certainly are not afraid to let the opponent know that they are the opponent. But we still try to keep it classy as best we can, Blaine. But, they've got some good cheers. I mean, they'll get jumping up and down. I mean, just it'll be an electric environment tonight. So I encourage people to come on out because it'll be number one, really good basketball, and number two, a really energetic environment.
Well, I know it's a huge rivalry, and it's right down the street. I know UT and Memphis kind of stopped the rivalry, and that's more of a freeway and everything else. But why is it so important that you make sure that you guys keep this rivalry?
Well, I mean, number one, it's probably the one game on the schedule that our fans still circle. In the fact we're not in conference anymore, I think it's important. And Philip Hutchison, the AD at Lipscomb, feels the same way, that we keep playing this game because it really does energize the fan base. It helps get some local media attention. Those things are important as you're trying to, continue to grow your programs and the brand. And, it's just one of those games, regardless of the record, it's a really good game. And our coaches probably don't like that part of it. But for me, I got no problem with that. I know we'll be challenged, and we'll do our best and hopefully come away with the win. But I think it's just really good for the schools. I think it's good for our programs and good for college basketball locally.
VP Belmont Athletics, Scott Corley.
So
Corley.
What was the biggest one of these? Because people don't know. Philip played at Lipscomb and you played at Belmont, so you guys definitely know the landscape. You both played for the teams, the schools you represent. 18K plus, is that right, for these games in the past? No, it was a different landscape sports-wise for Nashville, but y'all used to pack them in, man.
Yeah, I was fortunate to play against Philip in the largest crowd to ever watch an NAIA basketball game. That was my senior year in 1990, and it was held at Vanderbilt Memorial Gymnasium because our facilities couldn't hold it, and it was the perfect storm. To your point, there was no Predators, no Titans. You had two, local newspapers in the Tennessean and the Nashville Banner, and both teams were in the top 5 in NAIA, and it just caught fire. And I remember that game, I've never played in front of anyone larger than probably a couple thousand, and here we are selling out Vanderbilt Memorial Gym, and it was just a wonderful experience. It was great to see the city of Nashville embrace small college basketball at the time, and it's a memory I'll never forget. And I think it was, after that, we both got different gymnasiums, nice, bigger gymnasiums, and so, we started playing at our own places and kept the rivalry going. And so it's just been able to withstand the test of time. We've had so many memorable games. Our first conference championship win to get into the NCAA tournament was against Lipscomb when we were both in the Atlantic Sun. And, that just catapulted us to a whole different level. So the game is meaningful, has so many memories, and hopefully tonight will be another good memory for Belmont.
Men have won 4 straight coming into this. What's your ladies' team has won 3 straight, coming off a big win at Middle. So, man, we're mixing it up, right in the heart of the season, getting things going here.
Yeah, they're first. They play first, right?
Yeah, the women play at 5, and then the men will play 30 minutes after the women's game. And both programs are playing very good basketball right now. Our women's team has beat Georgia by 22 at our place, and then we beat who am I forgetting?
Northwestern.
So
yeah.
Yep, 2 Power 5 teams. We played Mississippi State to a 1-point game. Candidly, should have beat them. So our women are really good, playing very well, and our men are starting to find their stride. They, like you said, won 4 in a row. Went up to Northern Iowa, which is a tough place to play, and beat them by 20 a week ago. So feeling good. But again, it doesn't matter how well you're playing or what the records are. We know it's going to be a dogfight tonight.
Can't wait to see you.
Yes, sir. Going to be a fun night for sure. Battle of the Boulevard. Always worth your time and worth your admission and worth the price of the ticket to go see it. Scott, we know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time as always. And as things continue to change, we may have to check back in with you to get some more info on the changing landscape of college athletics.
Help us out.
Nope. Yeah, no problem, guys. Always appreciate it. Good talking to you.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir. Scott Corley played in that game. I knew that he did. Hutchinson, too. Both of those dudes were unbelievable
That's really
players. And now both doing great jobs running the athletic departments for their schools. Kind of jealous, man. You know, back at the mothership doing great things.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It is very cool. All right, hour number 2 of our show is going to be really cool. And Jordan Dajani is cool, and so he's going to come on. So you want a cool second hour of the show, then just keep your butt right where you are and stay tuned.
Vapor presser.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? Halfway through the week show. It's practically the weekend for people. As we like to refer to it. It's the nexus
really
of
happy
the
about that.
sports talk universe. No, I could care less that it's the weekend. Who cares about the weekend? I wish every day was Monday.
I love the weekend.
Yeah, I was totally kidding. I'm 1,000% on board with
because
that.
I could then sit and relax.
I wish I knew how to relax.
Oh, man.
People gave me
I
some
like moving,
suggestions earlier.
I'm going. You going to that Belmont game? I think I'm gonna go. I know you're gonna be busy, man, but I think I may go. I may check out. I may get there and check out the women's. They start at 5 women's game. Then the men's is at 7. So I may try to get a little bit of both. Like get there second half of the women's and go to the first half and then bolt. You know, I gotta get my bedtime is 9.
You get up at 4:30 or something. That's totally on you. A lot of discussion about the Titans in the first hour. Talk some college athletics as well. I know some of you have been weighing in on the Vrabel and the Monty Rice and firing Craig Ackerman, and Paul Kaharski had asked Mike Vrabel about that today because we're just kind of discussing this some yesterday. Did he do it? Because he said I, and then he said we to answer different questions in the press conference on Monday about it. So I think there's been some questions among Titans fans. Did Mike Vrabel just decide, okay, I'm going to do something I've never done? Was there maybe some advising from Amy Adams-Strunk? Was there an ultimatum? Nobody really knows. Mm-hmm. All we're left to do is just discuss it, but how did we get there? And PK had asked him, Vrabel, at the end of today's, because Mike always speaks on Monday, then he speaks again on Wednesday, essentially asking him, did you and Amy Adams-Strunk have a conversation about firing Craig Ackerman before you did it? And Mike at that time basically ended his press conference and
he wouldn't answer the question
and went ahead and didn't answer the question and went inside at that point.
I thought that was weird because all he had to do was say, well, we're going to keep those conversations amongst us.
Right.
That's really all he said.
It's a personnel matter, and we typically keep those things in-house. We'll do that again. You guys, you know,
it was weird. Now
thanks, everybody.
You think, well, maybe there's something to that. That's what it made me think. Like, whoa, wait, you dropped the mic.
Mike dropped the mic.
Yeah, Mike did drop the mic.
Mike did leave the mic. Let's talk to Bam about Mike. And we got some phone callers. Again, 615-737-1045. Bam in Nashville. We'll start off hour number 2 on a Wednesday. Hey, Bam.
Hey, fellas. How y'all feeling, man? Everybody all right?
Oh, man, we're doing great, man. I'm doing awesome.
Man, Blaine, you had me so hyped Sunday, man. I just wanted to tell you, they should hire you to be the full-time hype man. You had it.
Thanks,
man.
You
had me jumping, man. You had me bopping in that box.
Oh, man, I had to do that to back in my day, man. The fans really made me do things I didn't know I was capable of myself, so I understand the hypeness that you got to get to.
Well, man, this whole Vrabel thing is actually getting a little scary now, the way that it's starting to play out. And my question is, worst of the worst, if we lose out and Amy gets rid of him, or they decide to go a different way, or if he don't care, if he don't want to be here, however it pans out, who are you looking at next? Are we going to start looking at an offensive-minded coach? Is this going to stunt Will Levis's growth? All this is like a whirlwind now. Like, if he don't want to be here, or if they're saying he's not good for the locker room, and the locker room's divided now because of now we're actually starting to see a glaring problem. Okay, if this is a problem and he's losing the locker room and he's probably trying to get to New England, or if it's just not working between him and Carthon, it's just kind of like which way do we go with this? And if we got to bring in somebody else, do we look at an offensive-minded coach like Eric Bieniemy? What do we like? Where do we?
Well, you got the
going?
Detroit, you got San Francisco, OCs, if you want to go the offensive side. And I think that's where you would lean to, but you don't want to ever put yourself in a box when you're making a decision. You would like things to kind of work out that way because you want to develop, but you never know. It could be a defensive guy out there, and the first person that comes to mind to me, somebody I'm sure the organization would be comfortable with is Schwartz as a head coach. So sometimes personal relationships kind of trumps maybe help develop it because he may have somebody in mind that he could hire as a OC. So, yeah, would you want to, lean? It's kind of like MTSU. I'm sure they wanted to hire some young offensive-minded guy, right? They ended up hiring Coach Derek Mason. So I think if they did go in that direction, I think they would be thinking the same way until they start having interviews, and you just never know what direction it's going. To me, everything is about fit, personality, kind of like minds, because chemistry up top with the coaches and the organization and the GM is vital. All the everything else will fall into place regardless. I mean, so I firmly believe that. So it always starts up top. So they just, if it doesn't work out, then they got to try to get it right. And sometimes, you don't get it right and you got to go back at it. Hey, man, this is monopoly money. It's not my money. They money. So hey, keep going till you get it right. Because I truly believe and I want this organization to get a Super Bowl ring. And I think that's their goal.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes patience is not there with that when you're going down certain roads. And sometimes you just got to end things, unfortunately, and move in a different direction. Yeah, so I don't know if that's the case or not. But, if you lose 20 of the next 23, I mean, hey, man, I've never seen that happen in the National Football League where a coach kept his job. Especially in the modern era now. We've seen guys lose their job in a complete season with the Tappering Panthers.
Well, 4-8 this year, 4-15 in the last 19 games.
Yeah. So I'm not. Also, let me just say this: I'm not a big proponent for knee-jerk reactions of firing, cutting. So I'm not a fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just me. I just wonder how it affects the team when you do those things. Certain things you can do during a season, whether you're having good, you're winning or not. Certain positions, maybe like the GM. I don't know if that really affected the team. He was there,
Mm-hmm.
and those are his players, but it could be eye-opening that, hey, we need to play better.
Right.
But a coach, special team coach is almost like a strength coach. He's working with all the players except for the freaking quarterbacks and the punt. I mean, he's even working with the punters. So yeah, everybody's a depth piece in the NFL. So at some point in time, he's working with all the players. So just never know. Just never know. Tough though after something like that happening though. That was unexpected. Never seen anything like that. So what comes with that is maybe something you've never done. And I'm going to say this about Vrabel on coaches. I think he has full autonomy on his coaching staff. Because I think that can end a lot of coaches' jobs because if somebody tells you what to do with your coaching staff. Now, they can recommend, but I don't think they told him he had to fire Ackerman. I don't think so. I think she sat there and said, hey, what happened? Disappointed in what's going on with the special team and the special teams playing this game. It really lost the game. I'm probably going to have to make a move and say, you support this. And she said, yeah. I think Vrabel has control over his coaching staff.
Let's take one more quick one. Uncle Bob from Springfield. Hey, Unc.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. I was kind of making a little funny earlier. I don't get much done during the day anymore. I used to take this 2 hours, honestly, to do a little something else. My wife's got tired of that, but she'll get over it. No, just y'all make a great team, and first time to call y'all. I've worn the other ones out a little bit, but and Blaine, you bring a different perspective to it that I appreciate.
Thank you.
I'm a ball for life, blood orange, but I've become a Titans fan from listening to you guys. And, boy, I hate to see what's happening, particularly Sunday. It's just, it's not as – it doesn't get me like Tennessee, but I got feeling for them, and I appreciate that and appreciate what y'all do. God bless.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob just want to call and say nice things, like a good uncle.
Man,
Appreciate
that's
that.
pretty cool.
For sure. All right, Jordan Dajani, our resident NFL reporter. Lots to get to, lots of stuff. We can talk about this Titan stuff with him. What's he seeing? What's he hearing? All that and more coming up on Blaine and Mickey, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, when trust matters.
I'm going to ask him about the NBA.
I can't remember. let's talk about you, and let's talk about you looking like the old you. You know what I mean? All of you who are dealing with hair loss out there, you remember what you used to look like, how you felt like when you had all that glorious hair on top of your head. And maybe you got like the group text picture, because that's when some guy's always going to send a picture of, the college days or the high school days. And somebody always says something along the lines of, yeah, that's back when we had hair, or I did, or you did, or you know how it goes. And you don't do anything. Maybe you just, you go to the barber and say buzz it, or you buy a bunch of hats, or whatever you decide to do. You don't have to do that. Just go to We Grow Hair, PAI. It's simple. They have the best technology. They're going to work with you on how you pay for it. They'll give you a free consultation, meaning they'll meet with you like a head coach. They'll come up with a game plan. They'll tell you what they're going to do and how you're going to look when they're done and how you're going to pay for it. And they're going to work with you through the whole process with the best technology in the business. You want to see what they do? Go to WeGrowHair.com. You can see real people and real results, natural results from the company you can trust. Again, PAI Medical Group, WeGrowHair.com. Call them now. Get that free consultation, 615-376-6010. Blaine and Mickey 104.5, The Zone. Let's talk some NFL, man. We've been talking a lot of stuff today, a lot of Titans stuff. Let's talk Titans and more. Our man Jordan Dajani joins us now, CBS Sports at Jordan Dajani on Twitter. JD, how in the world are you doing, man? December, Santa Claus is getting his bag packed up, ready to bring the gifts around. Have you been naughty or nice this year?
What's going on, my friends? Thanks for having me on the show. Hope you guys are doing well. I've been probably a little bit naughty, a little bit nice this year, but you're right. It's time to start really this campaign of being nice to the rest of my family, going out there and shopping for gifts. So I get back on that nice list for Santa Claus. But always excited to join you guys on the Blaine and Mickey show and talk some NFL.
Craig Ackerman was on the naughty list, man. He got sent away from the North Pole by Santa Vrabel. It's something we haven't seen around here. Coach cut loose during the regular season, but I guess 2 punt blocks and a missed game-winning extra point is the type of poop show that will get you removed from your occupation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there hoping that the firing of Craig Ackerman is just the appetizer for a feast that will include a much larger sacrificial lamb. That remains to be seen. But when it comes to this move specifically, I was probably 60% surprised. I mean, I think it's been well documented that Mike Vrabel is a bit hesitant to move on from members of his coaching staff mid-season. I'm not sure he's ever done it before. But when you have a day on special teams like the Titans had against the Indianapolis Colts, a back-to-back blocked punts, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. That's going to put the special teams coordinator on the hot seat. And that's something that you can just absolutely not afford in a close game, in any game really in general. So Mike Vrabel or Amy Trask or whoever it was, Rand Carthon, decided that a move was necessary. And it's hard to argue against that being the case.
Yeah, Amy Adams Strunk, for sure, the Titans co-owner. Amy Trask, longtime employee of Al Davis there. Jordan Dajani, our guest. You get your NFL storylines. You got so much in your head, man. You're bringing us Amy Trask here. So people questioning the culture with the Titans. You know, Monty Rice gets cut. He tweets out some stuff. Jaleel Johnson had gotten cut, and he tweeted out some stuff. And what does your radar tell you? What kind of things do you hear about the culture inside the building?
Yeah, well, thank you for the correction. Definitely not Amy Trask. But when
I do like her, though.
Titans,
she's sweet, yes.
She is very sweet. She's great at her job. But when it comes to the Titans culture, you know, you guys asked me a couple weeks ago what I was looking for with the Titans moving forward this season. What's something that could put Mike Vrabel on the hot seat? And one thing I brought up to you guys was how intact the locker room was. And when you start seeing some of these players that are released and they are free to voice their opinions on social media, I think that's something that's worth paying attention to. I think you have to take everything with a grain of salt. I mean, these are also players who just lost their jobs. They just lost their opportunity with their NFL franchise. But I still think that these are things worth monitoring. And then, of course, we have all the speculation that's come with the power struggle between Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel. I actually just read Theron Davenport's piece on the two trying to have a collaborative effort in the front office. And there were some interesting comments in that, but I'm really looking at the Titans. There's two things I'm focused on. It's really the locker room remaining intact. And what I mean by that is that this team will show up on Sundays or Monday night in this case, ready to fight for their head coach and ready to fight for their brothers, even if it's a losing effort. But number two, I'm also looking for how the utilization and development of young talent, if you will, right? Will Levis, Tyjae Spears, Jalen Duncan. These are some young players who are getting reps, who are getting to develop. That's something that I like to see. Maybe we can do more with Josh Wiley. Maybe we could do more with Colton Dowell as a member of the wide receiving corps as well. So the utilization of young talent and how they develop down this stretch, because unfortunately the Titans are not making the playoffs, that's something I'm keeping an eye on moving forward.
Jordan Dajani, our guest, talking all things NFL, courtesy of CBS Sports.
I'm sure Tyreek Hill is looking forward to playing the Tennessee Titans. How do you see this playing out?
Oh, man. How do I see this playing out? Well, the Dolphins are 9-0 versus teams that entered matchups 500 or worse this season. Yeah. And the Titans are 0-7 away from home this season. So not exactly a great setup for this primetime matchup, right? Tyreek Hill is the MVP favorite, in my opinion.
Yes.
He has the most receiving yards through 12 games in the Super Bowl era. He's on pace for 2,098 receiving yards this season. And I guarantee you that Mike McDaniel wants to get him there. You pair Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa against a secondary, which in my opinion is one of the worst in the NFL in the Tennessee Titans, and that was surely on full display against the Indianapolis Colts. Gardner Minshew had a solid day. Alec Pierce had a really good game, just stretching the secondary down the field. I mean, it just comes down to taking away the home run ball for Tennessee. Even if you lose this game, I just want to see the Titans be able to take away the home run. I don't care if you need a double team and shade a safety over top of the side of the field that Tyreek Hill's on. Just take away the home run ball. Give them short stuff to take on the short end of the field. But taking away the home run ball is something that I want to see the Titans defense do on Monday night.
Well, I'm going to tread lightly here on this one. The Dolphins in first place, but you said something in the AFC that they hadn't beaten a team, basically are 0-3 versus teams with winning records. So, I mean, how do you perceive what the Dolphins really are?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to you guys about them being on fraud alert, right? It's hard to have this team as a legitimate contender. In fact, we actually did this fun exercise over at CBSSports.com this week where we decided our Final Four, right, as if it was the college football championship or the college football playoff. And the Dolphins were a team that was debated heavily, but ultimately we did not let them in our Final Four. And that's because you look at their resume. They had a great chance against the Buffalo Bills early in the year when the Bills were healthy. They lost by 28 points. They had a chance against the Kansas City Chiefs, who don't appear to be the Kansas City Chiefs of old here in 2023, out in Germany, neutral site, and they lose by 7 points, just put up 14 points. And they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles as well in primetime earlier this season. So the Dolphins have just been unable to really record that statement victory just yet. Meanwhile, they're running all over all these teams that they should beat, that they're favored in games against. So it's tough to make heads or tails of what this team is capable of. I will tell you that I think they have one of the best offenses in the NFL, right? There's no doubt about that. They got two legitimate MVP candidates at quarterback and wide receiver. Where my eye is going to go for the remainder of this regular season is how they fare on the defensive side of the ball. Jalen Ramsey's certainly been a welcomed addition on that side. Vic Fangio is a leader that is highly respected in this league as well. I think the answer to that question really comes down to how Miami's defense performs over the next couple weeks.
Well, you mentioned the Chiefs, and, man, the Chiefs' offense doesn't look like the Chiefs' offense, almost averaging 23 points. I think it's 22.9 or so. And their loss to Green Bay, I mean, what do you think is going on with the Chiefs? They just don't have the receivers?
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with the offense, let alone the defense?
Man, yes. The offense just seems a little bit stale, right? I mean, Patrick Mahomes is averaging 260.6 passing yards per game this season. That marks a career low. He has 2 games with 3 passing touchdowns this season. He's never had fewer than 5 of those in a season as a full-time starter. He has 10 interceptions this season. I think his career worst is 13 in 2021, so he's on track to break that. 7 yards per attempt this season is also a career low for Patrick Mahomes. So they've definitely battled through some inconsistencies on the offensive side of the ball. But what's really scary if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan is that the injuries on defense are beginning to mount. And again, the Chiefs' identity has really been the defensive side through the early portions of the regular season. But then you have Nick Bolton go down. You have his replacement at linebacker goes down. You have Brian Cook in the secondary go down against the Green Bay Packers as well. So some of these injuries are mounting on the side of the ball for the Chiefs, which has been really important to keeping them in the win column here in 2023. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs are extremely suspect moving forward. But I will tell you this, the Chiefs have gone through some slumps before with Patrick Mahomes. And I think that him being arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, he deserves the benefit of the doubt, but so does Andy Reid as a head coach and offensive game planner. The thing is, he really has to start getting these weapons involved. He has to find a way to boost their confidence. Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, guys like that who can stretch the field. The Chiefs are still a contender in my eyes, but in terms of them representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, I'm not sure I'm ready to say that just yet.
Well, let's talk about the team that they got beat by, and that's Green Bay, man. Are you starting to believe that they can maybe make a push here at the end of the season?
Man, I got to tell you, I've been really intrigued with this Packers team the entire year. Throughout their victories, throughout their losses, I think they have the youngest roster in the NFL just in terms of average age on both sides of the ball. And now they're sitting in the playoff picture with that win. They're 6-6. I think they're currently the number 7 seed in the NFC. So if the year ended today, they'd be in the playoffs. It's tough because when we talk about inconsistencies between teams, I think the Packers basically embody that. Jordan Love has gone through these streaks where he looks like he could be a top 10 quarterback, and he's gone through streaks where people are wondering if he's going to be the starter in 2024. Right now, as we speak here, he's on a hot streak. I think he's tied for having the most games with 3 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He's tied with Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers, who is an MVP favorite. So, when he's confident in the pocket, when he's trusting his wide receivers down the field, when he has momentum on his side, and when his defense is playing with energy, the Packers seem like they could be a legitimate playoff team. I do not envision this team being a legitimate contender here in 2023. But if you're a Packers fan, you have to be feeling a great level of optimism for what this young core is capable of moving forward.
Jordan Dajani, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
Hey, what's the latest you're hearing on Trevor Lawrence? It looked awful what happened to him, to the point that Trey Hendrickson, who stepped on him, literally stopped and tried to pick him up and then patted him on the head and then prayed for him. It looked terrible when it happened.
Yeah, it absolutely looked terrible. And it was so tough because that whole unfortunate series of events started with his left tackle, Walker Little, stepping on his own quarterback, which caused him to get bent back awkwardly. The defender on top of him didn't help anything. I was scared that we witnessed a season-ending injury, but fortunately that is not the case if you're a Jaguars fan. It sounds like Trevor Lawrence is going to be basically week to week. Maybe he could miss a couple of weeks at most. I will tell you that apparently, according to reports, he's not going to require surgery. So I don't think that this is a situation such as the one Kenny Pickett of the Pittsburgh Steelers is facing. It sounds like Trevor Lawrence is going to do everything in his power to be able to play this week, but I think that's pretty tough, especially considering that he was injured on Monday Night Football, so he's on a short week by definition. But this guy is really tough. I mean, I go back to last year. If you guys remember, he suffered what looked to be a serious leg or ankle injury. He ended up leaving the game in the fourth quarter against, I forget who they were playing, maybe the Lions. And then up next were the Tennessee Titans, and his status in practice was in question all week long. But he ended up starting against Tennessee here in Nashville, and he threw 3 touchdowns en route to a very big statement victory for the Jaguars. So we know that Trevor Lawrence is a tough son of a gun, but it seems like it might be too much adversity for him to come back and be 100%, have that mobility needed to be a quarterback in this offense.
Let's go more quarterback stuff. Zach Wilson, there was a report that he didn't want to be put back in the lineup. Then there was a report that Aaron Rodgers talked to him. And now there's a report by Saleh that he does want to play. And then there's also a report that he is going to start for the Jets for the rest of the season.
Man, I wish I knew what was going on with the Jets and Zach Wilson. So to recap your timeline on this story quickly, The Athletic reported that Wilson was reluctant to step back in under center due to perceived injury risk, which is an ugly report to have reported about you, considering that you've played bad football and you've received infinity chances to start for this team. But then that same day, Robert Saleh comes out and tells reporters that, hey, Zach Wilson wants the ball. And he even went into my office this week and tried to convince me that he's the best guy for this team. So it's hard to understand what exactly the truth is. And maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. But the bottom line is that Zach Wilson is going to be the starter for the remainder of the season, barring any kind of injury. He has been the best quarterback for the Jets this season, which really says something because I don't see him as a legitimate starter. So we'll see what he can do with his 100th chance behind this very poor offensive line in a poor offensive system with very inconsistent pass catchers.
Do you think they're just using him for trade bait here going into next season? That's why they're putting him out there, because they think the season probably is over now?
Geez, I mean, I don't know how much we could talk about trade bait if his market value is a conditional 8th-round pick, right? So,
I'm just saying because of where he went in the draft, and if they need more film on him and they want him to play well, even if they still lose. Because I think once a player says that, you got to get rid of him, and you're trying to find the best way to clip a guy like that was the first pick, your first pick in the draft as your quarterback, who's disappointed in more ways than one, not just on the field, but off the field. You do not want anyone like that at the quarterback position, a leadership position, saying you don't want to go back out there.
1,000,000% agree with that. And when it comes to the decision to put Zach Wilson back out there, I think it could be somewhat of a scenario where maybe we could fetch some kind of late pick for Zach Wilson because he has some kind of arm talent, right? But there's a lot of other things he's lacking in when it comes to the process as a quarterback. But the other thing is, like I said, undoubtedly, he's been the best option for the Packers that's healthy under center right now. and he still is a young player, right? Let's say he takes this, 100th second chance and is able to show some sparks and show some signs of development. That's going to be something that would perk up the ears of anyone who's looking for a young quarterback to bring into the fold. So I think it was the right decision. It's something that does not surprise me in the slightest. But I really don't think that he should have been part of this roster entering 2023. And I'm fairly certain he's not going to be part of the roster in 2024.
Jordan Dajani, our guest, CBS Sports, talking all things NFL.
Well, the Bengals came out with a huge win there with Browning, at quarterback. With all those weapons around him, you think the Bengals can kind of save faith and make a push?
Man, I got to tell you, I was absolutely shocked. I definitely
impressed.
lost some money on that game. That was the first Monday night game in Jacksonville in quite some time. They were double-digit favorites. They had the energy. The fan base was all hyped up. And here comes Jake Browning in his second NFL start, and he takes them to an overtime victory.
Yeah,
354 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, 0 interceptions. He has the highest completion percentage at 81%. In his first 2 quarterback starts of any quarterback since 1950, the highest completion percentage. He actually broke the record that was previously held by Chad Pennington back in the day. So now all of a sudden, I'm super intrigued by this Bengals team, right? Because they have some talent on the defensive side of the ball, even though they might not statistically be an elite defense. Joe Mixon is running the ball a little bit better, as we saw against the Jaguars. He's got good pass catchers like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. He has an okay offensive line. Jake Browning is a football player who was a legend in high school. He went to the University of Washington, became somewhat of a legend there as well. Now he's kind of building this own path for himself in the NFL as a backup, now turned starter due to Joe Burrow's injury. I'm incredibly fascinated by this. I don't know if it's a little bit too little too late, because as we know, Cincinnati got off to a rough start in the regular season, which really put them behind the 8 ball in a loaded AFC. But when it comes to Jake Browning as, a quarterback that could be a starter moving forward for some other kind of NFL franchise, that's something I'm excited to watch.
Well, there's a lot of rumors going around here with old Mr. Hurts maybe playing hurt, and that Marcus Mariota should be out there for the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you see? Because I haven't watched him in detail like that. I don't know if he's hurt or not, but obviously he's not playing up to maybe the snuff. But he's still in the MVP conversation. So this is all kind of weird to me. What do you take from this?
Yeah, I would agree. I think that he is dealing with a couple of injuries. I mean, I think that most NFL players are dealing with a couple of injuries. We know that Jalen Hurts has been dealing, I think it was his left knee that he banged up. That could be something that he's still continuing to deal with. He suffered that shot. I think he got evaluated for a concussion against the 49ers at one point. So he's definitely physically been put through the ringer over the past couple of weeks. But I did unfortunately see that comment about replacing Jalen Hurts with Marcus Mariota under center. That is not something that I agree with at all. I mean, let's take a step back and look at what the Eagles have been through over the past couple of weeks. They went on the road into that emotional Super Bowl rematch against the Kansas City Chiefs, looked dead in the water in the first half, were able to come back and emerge victorious in that matchup. Again, an emotional win. And then on a short week, they host the Buffalo Bills, the underrated Buffalo Bills, in a driving rainstorm. Once again, go down in the first half. They're able to orchestrate a comeback for the second week in a row. And then they have to host the most physical team in the NFL, in my opinion, in the San Francisco 49ers. And they got their blows torn off of them, the doors blown off of them. So I really think that this Eagles team, it was time for them to suffer a loss, right? Now, I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen as they take their talents to Dallas to take on the red-hot Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott should be an MVP favorite with the way he's been playing. I think Jalen Hurts is a little banged up, yes, but in terms of benching him for Marcus Mariota, that's not something you're going to see happen.
Jordan Dajani.
The one and only. Hey, on the way out, man, what you got coming up next at CBSSports.com that people need to be reading?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be sitting down with NFL legend Rob Gronkowski. So if you got any good questions to ask the Gronk, go ahead and hit my DM. So I'm sure that'll be a fun conversation talking about teams that he would play for if he came out of retirement, how the NFL has changed, things along those lines. So as always, really appreciate you guys having me on the show to talk some NFL.
Yes, sir. All right, when we come back, we're going to wrap it up with this. Hitman is our poll question guy. Got a question out about the Titans' ability to win one more game. Do Do you think it can happen this season based on who they have to play? Can they win one more game? And over the past 2 seasons, match the 12 games that they won in 2021. They're one off of that total. What do you guys think is their capability to win one more game? We'll update you on the results. Do you think the Titans can win one more game? 615-737-1045.
Mm.
You know this one?
Look, you laugh at me because you think I don't know any because I told you I don't listen.
I just didn't. You're a gag. That was just an interesting
all those long car
attack
rides.
at these.
Long car rides, man. To Kings Island and Cedar Point, man.
It's been a long car ride, 2021 to now with the Titans. So the Titans won. You were sending me this information this morning. Our director of polling is Blake Bishop. He handles all of our polls here on this show.
I've been on vacation.
Yeah, but you were thinking. And so the Titans won 12 games in 2021. We all remember that, right? Those
that
are
was great.
magical times. And last year they won 7. And so I'm not sure when you sent me this, you realize this is what made it so great. They're 1 win away from having 12 wins in 2 years to match the 12 they had in 2021. They had 7 last year, and then
4.
Then everything kind of fell apart. Well, yeah, everything fell apart after the 7th win. Anyway, they had 7 wins. They have 4 this year, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm terrible at math. They're 1 win away from 12 wins on the season. Or from 12, they're 1 win away from having 12
that
wins.
one season.
Yes, in
2
2
seasons.
seasons.
Dang.
And so it's like, let's just kind of test everybody's confidence level. Is more what this is. Like, where are you Titans fans? So here's the question. At Blaine and Mickey on Twitter, you can follow us there. By the way, if you missed anything from the show, anywhere you consume all your favorite podcasts, jump on, subscribe to the Blaine and Mickey Show, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all your favorite podcasting platforms. Rate, review, subscribe, say nice things. Titans won 12 games in 2021. After 7 wins last year and 4 so far this season, they need 1 more win to match that 12-game total. Do you think they can get it? Right now, 48% say yes. 52% say no.
The odds on them getting 1 more win has to, boy, if you put that on Vegas, they got to win 1 more game, right?
Do they got to? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
They got the Texans twice. They got the Jags 1 more time. Seattle. Trying to think off the top of my head besides the Dolphins. So that's
Dolphins,
4.
Texans twice, Seattle, Jaguars.
Oh.
So Dolphins, and then it's like Texans, Jaguars, Texans again, and then Jaguars. All have the worst team of all of those is the Seahawks. They're 6-6.
We play them at home.
Yeah, the other teams have above a winning record. I mean, the Dolphins are what, 8-3 or 4, whatever they are.
No, and 48.
Yes. Yeah.
I got to go with that. They got to win 1 more game. I don't know. You just, yeah. Oh man, it seems like that should be yes, but I don't know, man. For me to even sit here and think about like, ooh, and then to hear that record, like. Vrabel is about to lose more games if he doesn't get a win these last 2 seasons. What he got in the
if they lose
21.
out,
Dang.
there'll be a 24-game stretch where he goes 4-20. If they lose out this year, if you say okay, there's a 24-game stretch, he's 4-20. Wiz went 3-20 here. And we all know that Wiz got his bags packed and set out, on the back porch.
Whoa. Say this again.
Wiz went 3-20 and got fired. Wiz.
And where is Vrabel right now?
He's 4-15 right now. If they lose out, he will be 4-20.
So he'd be worse than Wiz. 4-9. You said 3 and.
It'd be 1 game better and 1 more game played.
Oh man, just to have Wiz and Vrabel in the same conversation is really weird. Like that shouldn't match up. Yeah, he is on the hot seat. Hearing that right now, I know the caller kind of provoked this yesterday, but I just formulating it. If that happens, no way, and you know what? He gonna survive that.
Even with all the bad drafts,
I don't
and the
care.
draft picks didn't make it, and Panda Express his way out of the NFL.
And I know he'll use that to sell, but I'm going to sell this. 40% of your guys you picked this year. They're your guys. So then next year, if you hear 40% more, so that means 80% of the roster is yours. I don't know, man.
Well, the coldest one of all was Malarkey. That rascal had back-to-back 9 and 7
And
seasons.
went to the playoff.
And won a playoff
In the
game.
second round, man.
And then he
Man,
got
that was-
bye. I know there may have been some other stuff there with who you wanted to keep or not keep, but
Right.
that rascal 9 and 7 back-to-back, and he got let go.
Yeah, so I don't know. I better watch. Amy's the old slide dog there. She's just slippery.
Irony of all this is there's a whole bunch of people listening who hope they lose all 5 so they can pick in the top 5 of the draft and get the best tackle or Marvin Harrison's son or somebody else.
Where are we picking right now? Do you know? Somebody told me 8th. I don't know.
It
if
was
that's right
8th after the action on Sunday. They went from
Oh,
6
okay.
to 10 and then
now.
back
If we
to
lose
8.
out, we got to get top 5. We won't make it, huh?
Maybe.
I want to be high-fiving because we about to high-five up out of here.
Yeah, we got to get 3HL a high five on the way in because we got to go.
But as you know, in the meantime,
in between time, peace.